Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Campbell Cyber Dynamics. Today we're going to do 10 questions with Caden about cybersecurity. Question number 1, why do people say not to reuse passwords? The answer is actually really simple. It's so that if one of your account passwords gets leaked, a hacker isn't able to go and access your other accounts with that same password. It just makes it harder for all of your accounts to hack. That being said, it is frustrating to have to recreate passwords every single time. So one thing you can do to streamline this process is there's a lot of password manager tools out there. You can download those and they'll help you store your passwords securely. Question number 2. How do I prevent my business from getting hacked? I'll give 4 quick tips here. Number 1 is to update all of your software on all of your computers. If you're not updating your computers, you're not getting the right security updates for it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to make sure that you have really strong passwords and you have multi-factor authentication enabled on your critical accounts, because then it makes it way harder for a hacker to get into your accounts. Number 3 is to make sure you have good backups. Even though every system is obviously trying to be as secure as possible, nothing is 100% secure. It's always good to have backups. Another thing too is to make sure you practice restoring from your backups. You don't want to be in a situation where you think you have a backup and then you realize you don't. And then number 4 is to make sure you train your employees. Your employees are probably your strongest asset in preventing cyber attacks on your business, because a cyber attack is probably going to come through an employee. Somebody's going to call, somebody's going to try to access an employee's computer or an employee account. If you train your employees to be aware of cyber attacks and to know what to do, they can actually be a strong asset in preventing your business from getting hacked. All right, question number 3. Do I really have to invest in cybersecurity? It seems so complicated and unnecessary. Why would I be a target? Number 1, if you do anything on the internet, you automatically become a target just based off of that. Hackers don't discriminate at all based on who you are, the size of your company. If there's any small chance that they can take you down or get any money out of you at all, they're going to do it. But one thing I do want to challenge is that cybersecurity doesn't necessarily have to be super expensive or super complex. There's a lot of really simple tools and resources that you can use to make your company more secure. One of those is like multi-factor authentication, making backups of all of your critical information, things like that, that once you streamline those processes, it's actually relatively simple. All right, question number 4. How big of a threat are foreign nations to our cybersecurity? They are a massive threat for our cybersecurity. Here's the interesting thing is the United States has the most powerful military in the world, unquestionably. And so what countries try to do is something called asymmetric warfare, where they try to give themselves an advantage in an arena that the United States doesn't necessarily have a strong advantage in. And one of the ways to do that is through cyber attacks, right? A country like North Korea that's heavily sanctioned and really restricted on its resources has all of a sudden has the same power and capability as the United States in the realm of cyber power, because all it takes is code to take down systems. And the US has to prevent disasters like that. So we have to play a lot of defense and hopefully a little bit of offense. Okay, number 5. Why are so many businesses being cyber attacked? So basically it comes down to 3 motivations that hackers have. The first one is pretty obvious, it's money. If you can ransomware attack a business and have them pay to get their files back, it's a really big money maker. The second reason is just power. So if it's a nation state like North Korea, Iran, Russia, China, things like that, it upsets the balance of power and scares citizens. It gives them an upper hand. And then the last one, it's kind of weird, and it's because hackers actually get a thrill out of hacking companies. It's kind of the same reason like some people really like to drive fast cars or go skydiving or things like that. For hackers, it's breaking into companies and ruining lives, which is kind of messed up, but hey, whatever. Okay, question number 6. Can Teslas and self-driving cars get hacked? The short answer is yes, they can. Anything that communicates on the internet, there's always a small chance of getting hacked. But with the caveat that the internet, we've developed protocols to make sure that there's layers of security embedded to make sure that doesn't happen. So Can Teslas and self-driving cars get hacked if they're communicating on the internet? Then yes, but there's layers of security protecting them. Obviously, nothing is ever 100% secure, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we saw some kind of cyber attack happen to self-driving cars or Teslas. Okay, number 7. Does AI advancement like ChatGPT pose a cyber threat? Absolutely it does. So ChatGPT is really a new domain for cyber warfare because it can mimic human language and human behavior, which creates all sorts of threats for things like phishing attacks, automating a lot of redundant tasks, coming up with creative new ways to launch cyber attacks. But there is an interesting flip side to that not a lot of people talk about, which is we can also use it to anticipate new cyber attacks. So we can use it in the opposite direction. And hopefully we can develop the tools and resources necessary to defend our computer systems. But this is definitely a very interesting realm of security that is going to be probably one of the biggest realms of security within the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, next question. So what is the best way to back up your computer? There's 3 main ways that I'll share. So the first one is my preferred way, which is try to do everything with cloud applications. Like I use Gmail, I use G Suite, I use Google Drive, because then it just gets automatically saved up to the cloud on Google servers. There's also like other apps you can run that run on the cloud. So like Evernote is a good like note-taking app. You can use like Microsoft suite of products, OneDrive, it syncs to the cloud. That's my preferred solution because then you have the convenience factor of being able to always access it. The second way to do it is to actually have a third-party application running on your computer that just makes an automatic backup of your PC every night or every 3 nights or every week. This is a pretty good solution as well, one that I recommend. We've used a product called Veeam for enterprise level backups, but there's also tons and tons and tons of software out there to do this. And then the third way is just the really like dumb and simple way, which is to literally have an external hard drive, plug it into your computer, and copy your files to the external hard drive. It works, and it's a good way to do it. Number 9, what do I do if my social media has been hacked? This is kind of a scary situation if you've ever had this happen. The first thing to do is actually really straightforward. Just go try to log in and press that reset password button. It'll email you a password reset link to go reset your password. But then what I recommend doing is making sure you enable multi-factor authentication. That way it'll prevent your account from getting hacked in the future. Even if you haven't had your social media accounts hacked at all, it's always a good idea to enable it. That's what I would recommend. If it's more in depth than that, like you've made the critical mistake of reusing a password and a hacker got into like a lot of your accounts, then it becomes a bit more complex. You're gonna need to contact customer support for that. Okay, question number 10. What is the dark web? I've heard people talk about it, but is it real? Yes, it's actually very real. It's a very real place, but you need a special internet browser called the Tor browser to access it. When you use the Tor browser, it masks your IP address, so you're anonymous when you go there. It's a marketplace for a lot of like illegal and illicit transactions. So like there's a lot of drug deals that go on there. There's people selling credit card numbers, social security numbers. There's a lot of crap that happens on the dark web. Don't ever go there unless you absolutely know what you're doing. But there's also a lot of companies that are now actually scanning the dark web to try to capture a lot of this criminal activity. There's a company called Dark Owl that works with government agencies to scan the dark web to try to identify cyber criminals. I know that a lot of the big antivirus companies like Norton and McAfee, they also have dark net scanning so that like if your personal information shows up on the dark web, it'll alert you and let you know that you need to watch out for identity theft. All right, this has been 10 questions with Caden. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys later.